What's going on? Let's get started. I just saved you as Ed, because why the hell not? So yeah, during my readings, I will go back and forth between showing my face and showing the chart. Sometimes I like to kind of go into my own little world, close my eyes, meditate, whatever, just be off camera and um, get in touch with the chart that way. So we each have our methods. So let's go ahead and share it. So I've hit all private information. And here we are. So, um, obviously we have a Libra rising with a 12th house Virgo moon. Um, Sun in Leo, conjunct Black Moon Lilith. Interesting. And Aries, you've got Mars and Mercury. So you're on the cusp of Taurus and Aries, that very powerful cusp, the cusp of power. And then your Venus is conjunct your South Node in Taurus. Very interesting. Let's see if it aspects. Okay, nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. You got some Mercury square Neptune Uranus. Pluto opposite Venus. Okay. So yeah, not really an unaspected Mars in Aries. Damn. That's some powerful fucking energy right there. Um, where to start? Where to start? Where to start? Let's think. Well, first of all, from a very obvious elementary standpoint, what does it mean to have, a Virgo moon and be a Libra rising and really like a Libra or a Virgo moon, sun in Taurus, right? So your sun's in the eighth house also, I must say, is extremely important to know about. The reason for that is that basically the house that your son's in, houses represent areas of life, right? So whatever house your son's in is where you're truly meant to shine in this lifetime, right? It's like, so me and you both have our eighth house sons, and that connects, it's a house of death, rebirth, transformation. So there's definitely a vibe I already sense of, like, I don't want to use the word witch because you're a male, but like kind of just like really being in touch with that kind of esoteric occult side. And yeah, just the importance of that, right? The importance of knowing that, I think your moon is the nebula on your moon. Let's see. Should be pretty close. Yeah, it's right stick on your moon. So I mean that's a star that's very linked to kind of seeking the truth, really trying to get to the bottom of reality. And the fact that your moon's in the 12th house and your sun's in the eighth house, that's going to add like a really, really psychic, intuitive side to you, where, you'll be someone, even though you're a Taurus, whatever you want to say, it doesn't matter what signs you have. It's like, if your sun's in the eighth, your moon's in the 12th, you're going to be a very spiritual person who seeks a lot from within. Um, and it's very, very powerful. You will be someone who, who definitely needs to kind of uh like maybe you're like somewhat of a recluse, or someone who definitely needs periods of time of introspection, of kind of going deep within yourself. Because the whole purpose of this with the eighth house sun is death, rebirth, and transformation. So like I was just hearing a feedback from a client who had a similar chart, at least this kind of archetype playing out in his chart. And he was just saying like how they're like it was just exactly spot on. How he always, it's like shadow work, right? How there's this continuous need to kind of through different eras in your life, go within yourself and really be real with yourself, right? So with your chart, like a huge word that comes up is the word surrender. Because when you have eighth house and 12th house of your sun and your moon, you're going to be in a position where you're not going to be like everyone else, even though you might, as a Taurus, Libra rising, you might appear like that to others. you have this really, really deep side of you that wants to know more. I mean, you're young, you know, so all my young clients, students, whatever, you know, I teach astrology also if you're ever interested. I do want affordable one-on-one sessions. But whenever they're, you know, they're younger than me, I'm 32, I always know that there's something there, you know, because most like you know, you're born in 94, so yeah, yeah, you're probably close to your Saturn return is, let's see, where's your Saturn at? 9. Okay, so it's probably gonna happen what, like next or wait, no, your Saturn return, let's see, next year sometime. So yeah, also I would definitely consider and you can kind of okay, one second, sorry. So yeah, like after this reading, like I think you got no follow-up. The majority of people they do a follow-up to kind of like uh basically you know, and not everyone needs it, you know, it's to each their own, of course, finances also, whatever. But basically like I make it, you know, more affordable, people who, you know, who are you know, coming back, and um it gives you a chance to really like look at, like, to compare like what I talked about with your lived experience and go deeper into things. And a lot of people, what they'll do is that they'll combine that reading. So it'll be like, you know, one day I'll like put everything off my schedule and do a current astrology. So it's like a follow-up plus current astrology. Follow-up's usually 150. Current astrology is usually like what, like 250 or something. But so that'd be like 400. But I would do it for, like, I would do the follow-up for, let me think. I would do it for the two together for like, and usually that's like, we're talking like a 2.5 hour to 3 hour reading for 280. You just have to remind me that I told you that price if you're interested. But the current astrology oh, and it'd be 300 if you want to do like a current astrology slash Saturn return chart, because the Saturn return, it's coming, it's a major time in your life, and there's also like you know, a chart that's created for the Saturn return, and you know, further emphasis that's placed on that. So yeah, just let me know if you're interested in that. No pressure, obviously, just letting you know what I do. So anyways, back to the reading. So let me have a sip of this water first. The nice Romanian bubbly water, nothing better. Um, but yeah, so definitely, like, you know, you'll be like a sponge for energy, and as you know, as we all know, that's, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword in that, you know, we are able to be so empathetic. You're definitely like a natural healer, but at the same time, you know, it can create issues when it comes to you know, like picking like it's very important for you to choose your surroundings wisely, to choose the people that that you're friends with, that you let in. Um, and also there's a big chance, you know, with these placements of like kind of, I call it like growing, growing, what is it? Like kind of like outgrowing people like in your life, right? Because with the eighth house energy, right, is the sun, you know, even though, so it's very interesting, right? Because, and this brings up another big part of your chart, which is this Scorpio Taurus axis being emphasized, right? So that is because your sun is in the eighth house in Taurus. And eighth house Taurus is the opposite. It's the second house. So it's really like it's showing a karmic imbalance related to like this part of your soul. And where's the North Node again? It's yeah, exactly. So your North Node is in Scorpio. So this makes 1,000% sense. I've seen this chart so many times. There's a similar chart like this, right? So there's this big push and pull between wanting things to stay the same. Being, you know, Taurus is a sign that's very, very happy with kind of how things are. I mean, that's just kind of how it is, right? Um, but the thing with Taurus, which, you know, at its highest energy is heaven on earth, is that they can kind of like metaphorically, they can kind of deviate from taking risks that can transform them, right? And that's like what your chart is really saying, is that in past lives, like the karma is indicating that you've kind of like shied away from, like maybe you've been in situations that have felt very comfortable with Venus, conjunct the South Node. That's very, it speaks highly of like karmic love playing a huge role in past lives and in this life as well. Like your key relationships will be very faded, but you're really trying to kind of within those find this balance between staying the same, staying and taking that risk of forward movement, which going back to the thing about the part about surrendering, right? That is difficult, right? Like to totally surrender, to understand that your mission is going to be a lot different. Your purpose, your way of living, you have a lot more depth than the average person. And that can be difficult, especially as a Taurus, which is an earthy sign. Libra rising is going to give you a very like kind of not earthy, but like very they're two signs that are ruled by Venus. So you'll have an energy that um that is very like attractive to people. Like Libra risings tend to be attractive. They tend and when I say attractive, I mean like not just like of course like not every Libra rising in the world is gonna be like a fucking like amazingly like good looking person, jawline, all that shit, whatever people consider good looking. But it's more about an energy thing, right? It gives like a very like Venusian kind of chill, relaxed um vibe that even in men can be described as like kind of like a beautiful like when people say, oh, it's a beautiful man, like that's kind of like very Venusian, right? It's like it's not feminine because Libra isn't a feminine sign. It's more about the fact that it's very peaceful, very diplomatic, very about balance. It doesn't like to rock the ship, and that's kind of your outer personality, right? The ascendant, and very relationship oriented. But yeah, going back to what I was saying before, there's this part of you that is always going to be trying to go deeper, and there's going to be this big requirement in this lifetime for shadow work, right? And this, I think, the main area of life that this will take place in is in like these really intense, like romantic relationships that will feel very faded and very karmic and very like I don't want to say heavy because each one has their own, I'd have to do like a compatibility reading to really like know what each individual relationship energy is like, but they can feel very like you've known this person for many lifetimes. Like you meet them, you're like, there's a sense of like, I know you already. So yeah, with that though, definitely a need to kind of like things like psychology, astrology, anything that gets you um, deeper into yourself, meditation, that's going to be really, really beneficial for you, right? Because you're really looking for that higher awareness and for that, to basically the like eighth house is really representative of the personal shadow, right? So it's like it's through relationships, especially when you're younger, that you start to see like shit, like I have this. It's like you get the whole thing about like the relationships like being like the mirror, and that you learn about yourself through relationships, right? So that will definitely play out heavy in your life, and yeah, so it's just kind of like it's just like especially with Venus opposite Pluto, it speaks further to that, and just like when you have those aspects, like it sounds cheesy because it's so like there's things that they'll say that might sound like you could like they apply to everyone, but with that like what happens when you have and I have Venus square Pluto, so it's very similar. It's until like real self-love, real self-acceptance, all that stuff is really like surrender, all of that is really like really learned and kind of like added to yourself. You might kind of date, you might have like a toxic kind of like kind of very dark relationships with kind of dark people. um you'll attract that, you'll and be attracted to that. So yeah, that's why there's this big need to kind of in your own Taurus kind of practical way, right? Dive into things like this, things that, subjects like psychology, but then also like, this is just the start. This is the work is actually going and doing it, right? So yeah, like studies of the occult will be very beneficial. And anything related to like healing in general, and just learning more about whatever it is that interests you authentically is going to be like massive for you, right? So, and yeah, that's the huge thing with Taurus Scorpio axis, right? Those opposite signs being emphasized is that there's going to be a part that doesn't want that. There's going to be lots of resistance. Taurus is known for being very resistant to change, but the Scorpio part, which is your North Node, which represents like kind of your destiny, it's like the metaphoric mountain that has never been climbed in past lives, kind of what you're trying to get to. It's really asking you to go deeper, right? To accept, parts of yourself that are imperfect and to kind of work on them. And through that's when like the really good relationships come, and all that stuff. And yeah. So with that, in the moon in the 12th house, I mean, in Virgo, it's another very magical placement. That's speaking to how like Virgo moons just, without the house placement at all, can be very much involved with, the practicalities of life. They can be prone to anxiety. They're super, like observant and orderly and another sip of water. They can be very prone to this like unconscious perfectionism. Like in some cases, the mother, or whatever, like an early kind of family structure, there could have been like this like implementation of like of of what's the word? Like yeah, like excellence. Like you have to achieve this, achieve that, and unless you do that, you're not good. Not that harsh, but like kind of like having that message, right? Now, 12th house moon a lot of times indicates issues with the mother. Even though I don't see any hard aspects, there's all good aspects with the moon or easy aspects. A lot of times, like maybe the mother was like less mother or whoever the least dominant parent was, right? In some charts, it's the father in these days. But yeah, it speaks to like whoever the more nurturing parent was, being less present, right? So yeah, like a lot of times it's like the childhood needs weren't met in some type of way emotionally, and there's a need to kind of heal yourself through, whatever means. Like it's really different for everyone. Some people like choose music as their way. Like some other people choose, but there's definitely some level of creativity, especially, being that you have Venus ruling your sun and your ascendant. Um, definitely like yeah, some level of creativity, some outlet, that doesn't like there's not really like I'm not gonna put a label on what that outlet has to be because there is none. But yeah, it's important to find that and to go that direction because 12th house also can be, the house of repressed energies, and the 12th house there, it can lead to someone who kind of represses emotions, and who doesn't, really want to deal with um with what is, and it can create like a daydreamer, um, escapism, stuff like that, right? So very important to face reality head on. Of course, like I said, you'll be extra sensitive to the energy of other people. So yeah, and then the thing with perfectionism, and like you have to really watch that internally, because what can happen, especially like in relationships when you have this, is that like let's say you hold yourself to like ridiculously high standards that are like literally like it's like if I don't get 110%, like not like on like a test or anything, just like as a metaphor, like if I'm not like hitting this like perfect, like sometimes like impossible to get to mark, whatever whatever you define success as, then you can start to look at yourself from this lens of negativity, of pessimism, and it's very important to learn self-compassion. When I talk about self-compassion, I talk about the idea of treating yourself like you would treat your best friend, right? And the importance of that. And understand that in relationships, what can happen when, a lower vibration is that there can be like a lot of criticism kind of dished out. It can create someone who sort of like, because like when they haven't dealt with their own imperfections and accepted themselves, when they get in relationships, eventually over time, like there can be this pattern of like under and over idealizing the other person. And just having like ridiculously high, which isn't, it's not bad to have high standards, obviously, but like having like unhealthily high standards of like, who you'd want to be with and this, that, and the third. So, yeah, and that all goes back to the inner work and, inner child work, all that, whatever you want to call it, whatever, like I said, whatever your version of that is where healing comes from. Now, let's see. So Moon, Trine, Venus, another really great one for creativity, and I definitely think that you have this ability to kind of manifest your dreams, probably into creative form in some way. And yeah, so it's a nice aspect to have with a 12th house moon, and it can be very good for attraction and lots of things, the arts, being in touch with the feminine side, and kind of getting past some of the issues that 12th house can bring. Because 12th house is not like it's not like a curse. It's just like literally, it's just the highest energy of 12th house is like someone who's like very in touch with their inner selves, who's gone through these very necessary but difficult in the eighth house too, like periods of time, whether it's like a tough breakup or um like even the eighth house is the house of death, so it could be like something related to that. It's not always like physical death, it could be metaphoric death of a relationship, but it could also represent like a death of like a family member or someone very close. And because eighth house suns, they tend to have to really learn about death, and they sometimes are very fascinated by the concept of it. Like in my book, it's called Pisces Live Nine Lives. Like the first chapter after I talk about like kind of the my life and stuff is about like overcoming the fear of death and just explaining kind of how that process was for me and how important it was for me as an eighth house sun. Um, with that said, with your North Node conjunct Pluto, that's very, very intense. Like this is the ultimate chart. Like I'll probably name, like sometimes I name my readings. Like I'll like name like the charts. Like this is like the ultimate, like this person is here for shadow work. This person is here to dive into their own psyche. You can be a very good psychologist. And because you have Jupiter here in the second house, that's kind of what I like to call the financial guardian angel, even if it's retrograde. And because it's retrograde, it'll make you and it's in Scorpio, it'll make you very like psychological, very in tuned. It's like very, very another really huge psychic indicator. So I would be very surprised if we do, another set like a live session to hear that, you're not someone who's like in touch with, like maybe, regardless of how much you've worked on it, it's a natural ability, right? Like in touch with like the dream world, in touch with like kind of the esoteric side of life. So, and it can take many, many, many forms. But like at the high vibe also, like, so like once you get past the perfectionism, once you get past like Um, the inner criticism that leads to outer criticism. Virgo with the nebula is really very all about truth seeking. So you probably go through many different avenues, right? Whether it's astrology or whether it's learning about different philosophies, whether it's even though Sagittarius isn't like emphasized in the chart, learning about different cultures and people, like just getting lots of different perspectives on life, right? Now, you're definitely like, regardless of any of this, with the Mars in the way it is, it's fucking very like it speaks further to kind of this theme of relationships I keep seeing. But also like like larger than that, having Mars in Aries already gives a massive, a huge sex drive, a huge energy drive in general. Just like lots of athletes have that. Um, so it's very important that you have like a athlete, like a physical outlet. Um, that should come pretty naturally to you, but working out, whatever it is, to get that energy out because you'll have a ton of it. My water is finished. But yeah, like lots of people like Mars and Aries people like it's not a secret. Like they like they're very 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 sexual and they have high sex drives, high libidos. Um, but the fact that it's in the seventh house, Mars in seventh house can create conflict because the seventh house is the house of like partnerships, relationships. So it can create like different kinds of conflicts that come up in that area of life, relationships and stuff. Um, and with the Venus opposite Pluto, there's just definitely like we all have, areas of life that are kind of like the impetus into our healing, So for you, I definitely think it's probably relationships that take you to that place that it might suck in the moment, but you learn it so much about yourself, your true self, and the areas that need healing through the romantic relationships. And they are obviously just reflections of your lived experiences as a child or in past lives or whatever. But the point is that to not like to not like to not think that like just like for someone with a chart like yours, it's like there's a deep need to have a partner who understands this about you because like it might not present outwardly. But I'll get back to that in a second, like the whole love stuff. But I was talking about the Jupiter in the second house, like how inward, like the philosophy is kind of that philosophical, like learning part of you is pushed more inward. Um, but in Scorpio, it's like, so you're someone who's very interested in kind of digging deep, right? Digging deep and like really understanding like why people do things, like human behavior, anything esoteric, hidden, for example, like outside of spirituality, like crime documentaries, like stuff like that, like the underground parts of life, right? Those are very, very interesting. All the mysteries of life, all the parts that are kind of uncovered, and it can create a great, researcher of anything, right? So it's like when you are interested in something, you can really go head on, but also like with your Mars and Aries, which is just this ultimate like volcanic eruptive energy of just like fire, like just pure, like that's like the most fiery placement you can have in astrology is Mars and Aries unaspected, right? Which gives you so much willpower, so much determination. It's great for leadership, but it can also be a little bit reckless because it's not aspect. It means it's not held back. It's not. There's no other planets that are really like holding it back. So you can just really just go and go and go, which is good, right? Because you can go head on into things, but you have to just watch out for being a little bit reckless, especially when it comes to relationships. But yeah, as I was saying, the Jupiter second house is like about possessions, money. So I always call that the financial guardian angel. When I see that, I typically think, especially with a chart like yours. I don't know if you come from like a family with money or not. Eighth house sun, a lot of times that has to do with inheritances. Venus there too, so that could be something where you are able to benefit a lot from other people's resources. A lot of times that is the family of origin. Um, but it could also be like someone who's like an investment banker or like you know, who works in any kind of business that involves, you know, working with other people's money to make their own money, right? But having Jupiter where it is going to be very promising and give you and kind of make it so like so you're sort of more taken care of in that area of life because there's lots of karmic issues around money, right? Like some people they have charts where like I speak about money and whatnot a lot, but for you, like I see more of it being around like your shadow work. And when you have like a lifetime that's really based more on that, what can happen is that you can have placements like this where, you know, more of your energy, your bandwidth, if you want to call it that, can be used on like your personal work and the stuff you really need to get through in that realm. And then also it is opposite your sun, so you know, you have to watch out for indiscretion and being like too risk taking, I guess you could call it. So yeah, definitely important there. What else can I say about that? Hold on one quick second. Pause this for just a moment. All right, I'm back. So yeah, as I was saying, like definitely, probably, most probably, yeah. There's so okay, yeah. So the money thing is very powerful. Like, and even if you don't come from like a family, you know, with means or whatever, there's still like people who have Jupiter in the second. And trust me, I've had so many clients, and we have a follow-up session, and we talk, and it's all like it's this story I keep hearing, you know, and it's like something along the lines of um, like you know, like I got this job, and it was okay, it was cool. I lost the job. 2 weeks later, somehow like a friend or somehow I got connected to another job that was better paying, better work environment. Like they tend to always have this sort of luck of sorts when it comes to money and just like you know it's a financial guardian angel. It's a very very good indicator of wealth. I think I wrote that in my recent post. Pretty sure definitely was in there. Um, now with respect to okay, so you know the fact that I'll go back to showing kind of what I'm seeing. Excuse me. So okay, this is very important. So having North Node in Scorpio, right, and then Pluto right on that is like a double, quadruple, you know, like emphasis on shadow work and on the need for you to go within yourself and go into your shadow, right? Into the darker parts of your being. Um, and you know, Pluto in the second house on its own, you know, can speak about lifetimes where, you know, there you were spent like it definitely kind of speaks to like how, you know, you could have already had lifetimes where you were kind of like in survival mode, right? And because of that, um, some type of like emotional, you know, the whole Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? It's like, you know, when you're in survival mode, like think of like a random homeless person, right? Like they're not worried about like their therapy, right? Um, you know, about or like about like spirituality a lot of times, right? Because they are trying to think about, okay, how am I gonna get my next meal, obviously, right? So with Pluto there, it could indicate that karmically that kind of was, you know, what was going on, and in this life, you're really trying to deal with some of you know, potentially some past life you know, issues related to that. Now, with that said, um, you know, Pluto in the second house is also very, very powerful for money and for success. Um, so I'm looking for something on my phone really quick related to this. is it? But yeah, it's very powerful. One of the things also is like this battle versus like external and internal resources. Sometimes people who have this energy, right? Who have this energy of I guess you could call it like this Taurus Scorpio axis. Um there's this big need to align your spiritual values with your what's the word, like I guess physical in this world, real world ones. And to kind of find a balance between internal values and external values, right? Values slash possessions, right? Because sometimes people with charts like this, they can go too far when it relates to money, and they can really seek to try to like you know get past whatever it is that they're trying to get past by you know kind of accumulating like a ton of money, right? And a lot of it can come from past life trauma of not having it, right? So there can be this energy sometimes of like there's never enough, and it can create like obsession with that and finding that stability. Also, it's very entrepreneurial. With your midheaven and your midheavens in Cancer, so with your vertex there too, so interesting. So yeah, career, like Cancer is known as an emotional water sign, but like I've seen it heavy in like the charts of like really really wealthy people. I mean, it does rule real estate, so that's a potential, or it could be something a lot more related to this other side of you, right? Some people switch careers, like they start with a career that makes a lot of money, and then they go to something more, like psychology or whatever. But yeah, being your own boss, creating your own stream of income, not relying on other people for that, and also like what you might value though, and it is ruled by Scorpio, so it might be more occult. So like you actually might like really value like this kind of scorpionic energy and Mars in seventh house, more than like, other, like the Ferraris and stuff like that. But overall, there can be like lots of sentimental value placed on physical objects. And yeah, like it can create lots of like fuel for making money, and um yeah, it's not a bad placement to have your Pluto. It's just the kind of like warning sign is like just don't go too far on that, don't go too down that path of obsession and of the external. It's about really balancing the two. Um, fucking cough. Where are you coming from? Now, okay, next I see this, right? I see down here, we have these planets pretty closely. I see Neptune is the only one I would consider conjunct. So usually people who have that, they have trouble remembering their childhoods. It could be the case that they look at it through like a lens that's like there's like a certain level of fog sometimes as it relates to that, and they might either like most people who have that, they literally have trouble remembering their childhoods. Like I do. I don't have that there, but I have like lots of trouble remembering my childhood. Um, but yeah, with the Neptune, definitely energy, where you can either over idealize or under idealize what happened. So there can be a big need to like really go back into that and to really like truthfully like look at things how they were, um, and then deal with them, right? Because it does oppose your midheaven. So also like Uranus down there. So yeah, basically what I mean by that last statement is that success in career can be kind of pushed back until the childhood stuff is looked at, right? And also Neptune down there could speak to feeling like a sense of like abandonment. And then Uranus is more about like having to like have moved around a lot, like maybe the parents are divorced. Maybe they're, and I think I saw you're like living somewhere in the US and you're born in Cuba. So like that, potentially like, you grew up somewhere and you have to like move around a lot. So that a lot of times creates someone in their adult life who um, is moving, changing residences quite a bit. And on the IC, it can create sort of like it's very good to not live close to Cuba, just because that's gonna be the lines in astrocartography, um, which is like a totally different reading I do, where I dive into the astrology of different places for you. It's like a whole, I'll show you what it looks like. No, actually, I'm not. It's basically just imagine a map with different lines that relate to different planets, and kind of can give you like the energetic hot spots and cold spots and all that. It's very interesting. But yeah, like the Uranus there can definitely speak to that. Mm, Now, besides that, just Neptune in the fourth by itself can speak to like like once again like a very vivid imagination, which like the 12th house, like you definitely have that, like very like like super in tune, like even with like your ancestors and just like spiritual forces, like you have amazing potential like in this kind of area of occult, esoteric psychology, whatever you want to call it, kind of the less the stuff that's hidden from everyone, the mysteries of life, right? um like shamanism, all that stuff. But yeah, besides that, yeah, like I said, like the memories can be like romanticized or cloudy, but yeah, like the childhood is very significant because it can really shape the spiritual needs and the ideals. And like I said, there's like you can literally like be like carrying like the intuition, wisdom, um, and just like knowledge of the ancestors. So it's very like, yeah, very interesting in that sense. It also gives like a very private inner life. And let's see, it's in Capricorn. So yeah, there can be like kind of rough karma with the family, kind of stuck energy in some respects. So, getting past that is important. And you might be like a reason why there can be like some kind of understanding and compassion in the childhood. So a lot of times people who have this, like, and it's no surprise that they're my clients, they're the ones who are like meant to like break like generational curses and generational cycles of trauma in the family. Like they're like the chosen ones, right? So yeah, besides that, then Uranus, we look at, Uranus is right next to it, right in the fourth. Like so I talked about like kind of like moving around a lot, but a lot of times it just speaks about like coming from like it can speak about coming from like an unusual background, because I don't see Uranus, yeah, it trines or it trines the moon and Venus and squares Mercury. So um yeah, like an unusual kind of background in terms of like the household and the culture of the family. Um and there can be like a feeling of being misunderstood in your own family, and being like the kind of revolutionary one that kind of does things differently in some respect, whether it's like moving away or whatever. And yeah, let's think. And yeah, also intellectual, and like the whole intellectual side of life can be held at a higher value than the emotional bonds, like in terms of relationships sometimes. Which, speaking of that, Venus and Taurus, right? I mean, that's an energy that's very go back to my face a little bit. Venus and Taurus is just, yeah. Venus and Taurus is very like in love, like it's all about reliability, right? It's all about like at the same time reliability, like someone that you can 1,000% count on to be like the same person. Where's my thing? Like day after day, like not like in a boring way, but like definitely like there's a need for like that person who's like a rock, but also it's in the eighth house, so it's like really looking for kind of like soulmate type energy, right? It's not a placement for someone, and it does a nice trine, so it opposes Pluto. So I spoke about how that can create difficulty with relationships and the whole thing about like your own shadow coming out within them. Um, but then the nice trine, with Venus and Uranus and Neptune, especially Neptune, that's like ultra creativity. That's like your imagination being linked with like your ability to actually create. So if you're like an artist or something, I would not be surprised, or at least if not an artist, like a very good appreciation for the arts and for, whatever it is, like really having a deep connection with it. Um, and then yeah, your moon's also doing the same thing. So that creates what's called a T-square between the moon, Venus, and Neptune slash Uranus, and that's like very very like that's like in this respect. And is that a kite? Yeah, you have a kite pattern in your chart. So that's like another indicator of wealth and when you have a trine, a grand trine, and I'll show you. You're not seeing me right now. You're seeing me right now. Okay, so you see how trine, trine, it's like a triangle, and then this one goes down the middle, so it's kind of like a kite. That's like a really good indication for wealth. So you have a lot of those in your chart. And I think this Grand Trine, it's in the water houses, so it gives you like really amazing talent in everything related to intuition, compassion, um, understanding like the emotional undercurrents, emotional intelligence, creativity, music, all that stuff. Like you're covered in every area. With that said, this chart does lack some. No, no, it doesn't. You have air rising. So, yeah, you have every element, so that's very good. So yeah, with that Venus, definitely like I'll go back to my face. Definitely a need for love to be a certain way and for like the person to be consistent, but also like willing to go on these really intense like soul like the deepest like soul connection you can imagine, right? And aside from that, it's linked to your South Node, so that speaks to like as I said before, you can be well, I'll add to it. You can be actually bringing into this life, and maybe they're latent, maybe they're not expressed yet, but definitely like you're probably someone who is very very artistic and who has like this natural ability, like um in or abilities um to manifest and to attract and to create beauty, to manifest beauty in whatever way possible, whatever way it is for you, right? But in terms of love life, it makes like yeah, like everything very, very karmic when it comes to love. Um, like the partners that you have in this lifetime, they are very, very there's lots of karma between you and them. And whether that's just one partner, whether that's multiple, there's always going to be a level of fate when it comes to relationships, right? And they're always meant to kind of push you further. One other thing about the eighth house sun, and I have to talk about eighth house Black and Lilith, is that there's a tendency to like look at different eras in your life as if you were an actor, like you've changed so much through these different eras that you look back at different times and you feel like you were like a different human being. Like you were like, holy fuck, like was that me or was that like an actor playing me? That's how drastic and intense these transformations come. So it's like you have the relationships, whatever happens, happens, and then you go through these like deep transformations. And it can be out like, after a breakup or within a relationship, right? It's not really probably early on. It's more like, after, but yeah, learning a ton from relationships. Yeah, Black Moon Lilith in the eighth, it's really important for you to you know, to have spiritual protection, to know that you're gonna be more susceptible to, these energies than other people might be. To like taking on like different entities. Um, so really important for you to figure out ways to protect yourself spiritually, whether it's like mantras, um, whether it is you know, like for example, like taking showers is or like salt baths is very, very protective for your aura. Doing things like I don't know, like Kundalini yoga, meditation, whatever it is, like where you have like an intention, like especially before you go in like very crowded places, because like with the 12th house moon, 8th house sun, you'll be the kind of person that, like yeah, the Taurus can be more stable, more balanced, but like you'll definitely feel overwhelmed because you'll take on so much of other people's energy. So there's this big need. I was talking to my friend about this the other day. If you are a healer, to um, learn to kind of have a sense of detachment, so you're not taking on everyone's like shit, and to still have like compassion, um, but not to the point to where you're like overrun by it, right? So that's very important. My beard's just to the point where it's like needs to get trimmed and just scratchy. I wish I could grow it longer. It just gets really fucking scratchy like right now, like literally today. Um, Little side note. So yeah, so the Mars is interesting because in a Placidus chart, it would be sixth house Mars, which would just be speaking about like more drive towards career, more drive towards your daily activities, and towards like really gearing things to be in line with kind of your perfect setup in life. But in the seventh house, it would just speak about like how that kind of fiery part of you can come out in relationships, and how there can be clashes, especially potentially clashes of ego. Now, another theme of the Venus Pluto is like there can be like these power struggles in relationships, right? So that's like the whole thing about power is like about how you need to really like find that power from within, because what can happen is that you can start to like there can be this like these back and forth power struggles like with using manipulation and all these like talents that you have, which it'd be very interesting to find a foe for, like when I say foe, I mean like if you were like in a relationship where like it felt like it's like a nonstop psychological battle, it'd be very hard for someone to defeat you because you have so many energies that are so strong. Um, so yeah. Also like Pluto, Venus, like they tend to like love really, really intensely, really, really quickly. So that's another theme. So yeah, just finding a lover that manifests with those, and then with the moon in Virgo, that speaks further to finding a partner who is also like you know spiritual, or at least like open-minded, and who can kind of go with your ebbs and flows, and who has their own, and who's able to give you lots of space because you have the Uranus trining your moon. So that speaks to someone who likes to kind of create on their own, or like do like kind of like have their own space to kind of go through their own emotions and stuff like that. Um, Now Juno in Libra in the first house is like speaking about a partner who like it's like your dream partner. So it's like someone who really is where there's a really high level like linked to your Libra ascendant, right? Which is very much about, like I said before, um kind of projecting balance and purity and beauty and tranquility and having relationships that are very balanced in that sense, which is kind of opposite to what I was talking about before, where there's like that power struggle. So, like lots of fairness, like you're a very diplomatic and fair person. Um, so yeah, Libra rising is also really good for business and for that area of life as well, because it can create someone who um is able to really kind of see both sides of the equation, like both people's perspectives. So they can be like the natural mediator, the person in the family that everyone comes to, you know, for their counseling, like the unofficial counselor of the friend group, the family group. Now, Chiron the 12th, interesting placement there with everything I've said, which is in Virgo. So that's like where, you know, the wounded healer. So in the 12th house, that kind of speaks about like deeply buried wounds, like moments of like overwhelming pain, spiritual pain, um, where you have to really kind of like go once again, like it's literally a sign of a spiritual healer. It might not be now or at this point in your life, but it's a catalyst for healing others because it just pushes you so deep inside yourself. And when you've done that, when you've gone through that pain, then you're really able to kind of heal others. And in Virgo, um, that speaks to like, so like if you're like, I haven't seen, I mean, there could be some workaholism in your chart. I mean, Virgo moons can be like that. But Chiron Virgo, there's like a very strong link between the emotional problems and the physical health. So you have to like watch like if some, like for example, I had my like left eye that started getting all fucked up the other day on the new moon, and then my friend, astrologer, told me he's like, you know, the left moon literally, or the like basically like there's a huge correlation between that and, you know, my chart and left moon ruling, you know, like I forget what he said, but basically like, and I also lost my voice the same week. So I had all these random, like he literally texted me like a week before. I didn't even see it. He was like, on this new moon, you have to watch out for like your health because him have the exact same ascendant. And he's like, you have to watch out for your health. And literally in 1 week, I literally lost my voice, like a full day. I didn't have a voice. And then I like my left eye was like, it was like I thought I had like pink eye, like it was like something was like stuck in there or some shit. It was so fucked up, but it's all good now. So like for me, I linked that to like overworking, and I was like, okay, I was gonna do your chart like 2 days ago, but like I'm so happy I'm doing it now, right? Um, oddly enough, like your name was like in my head. I was like, Eddy, like I gotta get this shit done, you know? It's been a minute. So yeah, it's kind of like about like understanding that. Sometimes people, Chiron Virgo can fear emotions, preferring like the kind of like, you know, daily routine, than like the chaotic world of feelings, which is obviously a huge part of your chart, is to go into the feelings, to go into the emotions, right? Not like, because like with Virgo moon, there can be a tendency to, um, what's the word? Like kind of like put your emotions like into logic, because it's ruled by Mercury. 1 second. Shares again. Because your moon's ruled by Mercury, right? Because like lots of Virgo moons can have like anxiety. I don't like want to say like anxiety disorders, but you know they can struggle with anxiety, overthinking, perfectionism, all that. Um, but yeah, there's a mega importance for like really like figuring out, okay, what are my emotions, like what like how do I feel emotion, like how do I feel deeply, whatever it is, whatever the catalyst is. Like for some people it's like watching like a sad movie, right? For some people it's like, you know, it's different things to get the tears flowing. And trust me, I'm not someone who cries very often or anything like that. But you know, it definitely like healing takes different forms, and there's definitely like a release that's needed on some level. So important stuff there. Um, let's see. Let's see. What else can I say about Chiron in 12th house? So yeah, it's really like healing is centered around like finding that inner peace and seeing yourself clearly, right? Um, because you can be like someone who like is it's very natural for you to help others be at peace with themselves, right? Because you really do like know what it's like to struggle. Um, it's also like very good for like not conforming to society, um, and yeah, like just it's really about self-examination, which I talked about a lot. And what else? Yeah, so it's like that whole self-examination is very powerful because it allows you to see new aspects of yourself that you may have not seen before. And once the healing occurs, you start to see the real truth in real talents with your abilities. Um, and you're able to really heal yourself very easily and heal other people very easily from all types of spiritual kind of like what I'm doing, right? In my work, right? It's similar. I also have a Chiron in the 12th house like you, right? So it's like being able to like intuitive like being like an intuitive healer. And it's like a natural gift, right? To be able to like tap into that power. Um so yeah, a lot of times it's like from a wound that occurred in a previous lifetime, and also you having been a healer in a previous lifetime, which makes sense with South Node in the eighth house. So yeah, then Saturn's chilling the sixth. I have it there too with Fire Fortune. So that kind of speaks to Saturn and Pisces is like speaks about this life, kind of heavy karma in this lifetime. Um, But mainly, in the sixth house, Saturn there is gonna speak about just like it does go back to perfectionism, right? It's a good place to have Saturn. The best place is the 10th, and then second best place would be the sixth. It gives like a very, very like organized way of going through life. And it makes someone really, really good at going towards their desired goals in a very steady and sure manner, which the Taurus sun helps a lot too. And it's very, very good for like being of service to humanity in some type of way. Um, in terms of health, you have to kind of once again watch that like the emotions, like in Pisces especially, like how your emotions can affect your physical health. And yeah, like any good karma like that's come from like honorable decisions, um like that's what's gonna like really like be very good for your good health. So like you're like being of service in your life will like have a direct effect on your actual physical health. So Mercury in Aries, I didn't really talk about that. That's like how you talk, how you communicate, how you think. So it's in Aries that creates a very direct communicator. It's a good sign of intelligence as well, as I just wrote about. um and in the seventh, it basically means that like in relationships you're really going to want to be with someone who your descendant is in Aries too, so it's Mars ruled. So you'll like a good challenge in relationships. You like someone who can stick up for themselves and who you can kind of who's strong-willed, responsible, all that, independent, like with your Juno in the first house, but then also someone who you can really communicate with and who you can like really like go back and forth with in terms of ideas. Now, this is also if you're a business person, like very good for having, business relations where you're able to have strong communication with your business partners. And if you're doing work like I do, it would be like clients. So those kind of one-on-one types of energies, right? So aside from that, yeah, it's a good placement. It's good for like just have like friendly conversations in general. Although the thing is it's square these ones. So Mercury square Neptune can create all kinds of it can create like kind of a distorted view of seeing reality where there can be like some type of like paranoia. It's very good for like being like a magician or like like spiritual like work, like esoteric work, diving into the unconscious type of work. But it can be problematic when it really distorts your way of seeing things. Um, clearly. So it's important to have like a friend or a partner who you can kind of verify, like, hey, like for example, like reality checking in psychology, we call it, like, hey, like this is kind of what I felt, um, you know, from our conversation or from what you said, like is this really like what you meant, or am I just like seeing this in a distorted way? My girlfriend has this, and like I see how she has like lots of like like it's like when she's in like if you're in a high vibe and you're really like dialed in spiritually, it's a superpower. But when you're off balance, right? It can definitely speak about kind of seeing things from like a distorted view, and not understanding someone's like real intention, and stuff like that. So the Uranus, it just makes you, it's very actually good. It's kind of another like genius, like Mercury and Uranus in any kind of aspect. Gives like a very brilliant, like eccentric mind that thinks outside the box. Um, so it really sets you up, apart from the pack. It can create like a prankster. Um, but yeah, also there can be like Aries Mars can be very domineering in their communication, so it can create like with this like issues with concentration or listening, too easily distracted. Um, so yeah, focusing on kind of like listening is very good. Um, but like also it's really really good for like challenging other people's ideas because you do see things at a higher level. And then some people might see this as like arrogance because like you might call people out on their bullshit, like they say something, and the Aries energy in you, which is this very forthcoming, like in your face energy, might be like, wait, no. So it's like it's very good for calling people out on their bullshit. But some people don't like that shit, do they? So it's learning like to be like as your Virgo ascendant, wants you to, or excuse me, Libra ascendant wants you to be, which is very diplomatic and stuff, very diplomatic and very yeah, like diplomatic and able to kind of see both sides and not like too kind of going at people, because like you do have your ascendant opposite, um Mars and Mercury, so that can create like an at odds energy between wanting on one hand things to be very, very peaceful and keep peace at all costs. Um, sometimes Libra risings can be people pleasers where they just don't want to rock the boat at all. But then on the other side, it can create someone who, with all the Aries energy, which I would think probably wins in this, someone who's just not gonna take shit and who's just gonna say it how it is. And if that's not how people like it, well, fucking too bad, fucking too goddamn bad. And Mars, like I cannot emphasize enough the importance of like the unaspected Mars and Aries and just the need for you to like meditate, to chill the fuck out. Joking. But like being a Taurus sun is such a nice remedy. Like I'm so happy you don't have at all your chart, but with your sun and like Pisces or like, like yeah, Pisces like mine. Because that would make it really difficult for you to kind of balance yourself, like Aquarius or Pisces, like signs that are like very ungrounded naturally. More Pisces, um, or even Sag. So yeah, it's nice to have the Taurus sun to kind of keep you in balance. And yeah, it's really really good creatively. Like to experiment with different ways of thinking. Very good discrimination of mind. Um, but yeah, like there's a lot of self-control that's needed if you want to maintain harmony in relationships. And like I said, this is another indicator of like someone who has many chance encounters, meeting people from different cultural backgrounds, philosophical backgrounds, all that stuff. And then also it can, like people who have this, they can like tend to like change friends often. Um, Difficulty to like maintaining long-term companionship. Um, so yeah. Also like feeling like cut off and isolated from the mainstream because you think differently, labeled as like weird, can create like anxiety, um, stuff like that. And also it creates a very quirky sense of humor. So it's like a lot like comedians have this aspect a lot of times, like a very unorthodox and inventive way of thinking, right? So also it's good for like science, like anything that has to do like in being an inventor in some type of way. Also astrology and numerology, anything like related to that, right? And also since it rules technology, like anything that's like you can have an income that comes from like the internet. Um, it's really a good way for you to make friends is through like the internet, through technology. So, and yeah, the internet limits the kind of like negative influence that this can have because you're able to like kind of have more of a longer time to think before making like rash statements, which this can create. Um, besides that, Venus is trying those planets, so yeah, that's going to make you also like want relationships that help push forward your sense of individualism, your sense of self, your sense of of truly knowing who you are. So if a relationship holds you back from that, it's not going to be any good. So yeah, you're not made for like the typical picket fence relationship. Like you really want something that's kind of, different and kind of like just its own thing, right? Um, but overall, it's very romantic, artistic, and yeah. And also, in terms of sex, it can create like unusual ideas about sex and also about love. And then with the Neptune, it's just I already talked about that, like heightened creativity, like also interest in mysticism, and so much powerful artistic potential. But you need to have like a firm direction for it, which the Taurus can help. Um, so yeah, like once again, I want to repeat that there is a huge split in your chart of wanting to move forward and wanting to stay the same. Um, like that is clear as night and day. I'm sure that you resonate with that, and hopefully we can do a follow up and we can kind of like speak about how that plays out in your life. Let me know. Now let's no, let's go back here. So yeah, one thing with also Mercury and Neptune, you have to watch out for deceiving others, like scheming tendencies. Um, and yeah, I already talked about with Uranus, like how it can be very opinionated, tactless. Um, so yeah, watching out, like really, really like balancing yourself and getting your mind and journaling would be very good. Stuff like that. And yeah, Vertex conjunct the midheaven, basically like your doorway to higher awareness is through career. Um, um, so ruled by the moon, 12th house, like you might be someone that works like a unusual type of like organization, like behind the scenes kind of stuff. Um, Fuck, you could even be like a doctor or a surgeon or something. But yeah, there's like as you can see, it's like very, very limitless in terms of like what you can do with yourself. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, so much artistic talent. Moon and Uranus is giving like a strong intuition, and you attract a lot of luck through change. So when you accept change, lots of luck comes. So very, very, very important. And then Moon trine Neptune is also really good for like imagination, the interest in the occult, and yeah, a strong need to like create in a very artistic way. How many times have I said the word artistic? I don't know if I've ever had a reading where I said the word artistic this many times. So you better be doing some fucking kind of art, bro. I'm gonna be pissed. Be fucking pissed. I'm gonna do so much about it. Not. Um. Let's see. Let's see. Power fortune is 6. You in Pisces, you feel like very in touch with your flow state when you're compassionate, giving to others, like really like in that realm. Like yeah, just giving back and selfless. And also like when your day-to-day activities, your day-to-day life is in line with a higher purpose and healing. Really, I see you as a healer. I really do. Um, this fucking cough. I think it's because I use sage in my house today. But yeah, Palace in the seventh is really good for counseling, like giving lots of wisdom to like how people relate to each other, and having what did I see earlier? Can't stop scratching. Yeah, also in Aries, it's good for intellect. Once again, like coming up with like very like new outside of the box ideas, and then putting them also with the Mars and Aries, putting them into action. Fucking beard is pissing me off. But yeah, Black Moon Lilith is kind of like the darker side of your personality. It doesn't necessarily come out. In Taurus, you have to think of, okay, what is the shadow side of Taurus? Well, that is literally staying the same, being stubborn, not accepting changes, right? So being open and you getting this reading is very indicative of you probably being quite open-minded and accepting that like your life has a higher purpose and that at some times you're gonna have to make tough decisions, whether it's letting people, environments, things, whatever, all that stuff go. And the death, rebirth, transformation, like that is a theme. Death, rebirth, transformation of the self and of many aspects in your life. So there's constant flux. Your life is in a constant flux, lots of very distinct chapters. All right, let's see the stars. I already kind of looked at them a little bit, but let's see. So we had the nebula. Open, you fucking thing. Okay, so nothing there. What's this? Okay, Vega on the IC. That's a very strong star. It's a good star, and it could speak to kind of it can speak to good energy from the ancestors. And yeah, it's one of the brightest stars, so it's very Venusian. So it could speak of like kind of coming from like it could say good things about like the family of origin, and the past lives. And I'm looking to see if it has anything here. No. Hmm. Yeah, where'd it go? Oh. Yeah, so it's very, very powerful energy from within. Um, so yeah, you're able to kind of like dig deep into yourself and find this kind of like inner optimism. And it's once again like very big for artistic talents some fucking times. Especially for like music and acting. Um, and it also gives a liking for good living. It's good for money, maybe family with money potentially. And yeah, so yeah, very good for music. Um, let's see. Anything else? Mm-hmm. The Nebula. Ooh. So lust on your descendant. That is interesting. I don't even know what the fuck that would do. Huh. I probably won't be able to find anything about it anywhere, huh? So it says, okay, I found something. So lust, which is obviously about lust, duh. It says sex affects interpersonal relationships. So, yeah, like I'll just be honest. My girlfriend has lust rising, and so it's like the opposite. And she just like she's very attractive, but like she just like it's like people like can become very like obsessed with her just by like looking at her. Like it like she it's like almost like she like screams sex, even though she's not like that, you know? So when it's on your descendant, you might be very attracted, um, like very like very sexual. You're definitely a super sexual human with fucking Mars and Aries and less there. Um, moving forward, let's see. Not too many. Um, to talk about the Black Moon Lilith, like kind of like yeah, like you need to watch out for like let me see if I can pull this up. What does my other notes say? Hold on. I've never seen someone with vertex in the 10th house because it's kind of impossible, but in the whole signs it's possible. Um, so that's super crazy. Midheaven with Vulcanus. Damn. So is that it or is what's this other one? That's just like fucking. I mean, some of these asteroids like their names are the names for a reason. And Sirius is there too. Are it's kind of like out of orb, but like Vulcanus is like, it's all about brute strength, So, you in your career can be someone who just like is such a leader, such an entrepreneur, and it's a very masculine like just energy, right? So, yeah, it represents like brute force, strength, vitality. So it's like you could be like an athlete, honestly, like with your chart. Um, and so yeah, like very good like recuperative powers, but it's channeled into your career. So I don't know. Are you like a fucking professional athlete or some shit? Because I'm looking at some charts right now. I'm seeing like so many professional athletes like who have Vulcan as like you know in high positions. Um, yeah. So aside from that, mhm. Okay, I see another one. Ooh, shit. Algol. I didn't fucking see that one coming. And then what's this? Okay, damn. So, and this will be a great note to end on. Unless I see any other indicators of anything. Let me just search really quickly. 16 Libra, just through my encyclopedia of fixed stars, if there's anything there. And then what about two Taurus? Mira, but it's like a small one. 233. Let's see if he gives any info. Nope. And it just talks about, so it's not that important of one. progressive spirit, problem solving. This is not giving me information on the sun. Whatever. It's not an important one. Okay, so I was gonna speak about Algol and Venus. So Algol is known as like people are so scared of Algol. Oh my God, you know, like this horrible, horrible, you know, um, point in your chart. Now the thing with it though is that um, it's like kind of like when it's very like prominent in artists. Again, fuck. Um, and it's linked to like Medusa, right? And you can look up all like the mythology about that. I'm sure you're Scorpio, Jupiter will be interested. Um, but really like with Venus, right? So it's with Venus. I'm looking for something really quickly. Let's see about this. So it's very transformative. It's like kind of one of these like 0 or 100. Like it can be really fucking bad for your love life and for your kind of how you view yourself, or amazing, right? When you do the work. It's one of the most unfortunate stars. Ptolemy referred to it as the Gorgon of Perseus, and associated with death by decapitation. But like, so yeah, but like the fact that it's Venus, which is a very smooth planet. Um, See if I can find anything on it. Nope. How the fuck not? I don't think I've ever seen a algol with Venus. With these stars, it's hard to find like the right information. And I'm just learning more and more about it all the time. Um, yeah, a bit here. Mm, I would think it probably brings luck, honestly. Like if you've done the shadow work, I would like the way I would look at it would be that it can bring lots of esoteric luck and high energy. Let's see if I find it. Nope. There's literally no fucking information. I think I just may have found some on Tumblr. Okay, here we are. Algol conjunct Venus might also show us areas in which we exhibit our worst self. Sorry, that was what? The areas in which we aren't look kindly upon for and often discriminating against. It's an area in which we might want to look forward to understanding our differences. On the rare occasion that's not us, but rather how we perceived, in parentheses, Medusa being violated by Poseidon and punished by Pallas Athena. There is an element of duality to them, where beauty is there within Medusa. She is beautiful, but within that is ugliness slash fear slash danger, as well as lashing out, retribution, retaliation. It's not all bad. It's just a warning, as fixed signs tend to do. So some are fatalistic while others are more, blissful. With algal, it just is. Like the message it might show is that alcohol/delusions might often make this placement reactivate. So yeah, um, watch out for substances. That's a big thing too. I didn't really mention that a lot with Neptune in the 12th house, with Moon in the 12th house, Neptune on the IC, and Black Moon Lilith on the Sun. You might like, because Black Moon Lilith, conjunct the Sun, it puts you like very in touch with kind of the darker side of your personality, right? Like the Taurus, like so you have to really watch out for escapism. You like really, really watch out for escapism. But really, like when Lilith is conjunct the Sun, it can speak to like, yeah, also like numbing your pain because of feeling like an outcast. Um, so it's really important to like find like the right kinds of friends, like soul fam. If we have a session, I might speak further about that, but yeah, I can't, yeah, say anything more. Um, if someone tries to become a hurdle in your cause or creates misunderstandings, you react impulsively. No one can put your voice down when you are right. You don't hesitate to talk about your pains and pleasures. You must learn to follow the directions of intuition to reach your highest potential in personal and professional domains. This can resonate with the themes of love, life, and relations. Your feelings encourage you to change yourself whenever and wherever necessary to achieve what you want in this life. It's also associated with a confident sense of right and wrong in steering yourself into righteous direction, even if the majority thinks it's wrong. Those governing this aspect rebel against the status quo and believe in equality while empowering others. Um, so it also extends lots of sensitivity despite the countercultural behavior. So yeah, there's definitely some countercultural behavior. Your natural sexual instincts helps you connect with nature and instill a desire to strengthen your bond with family. The conjunction makes you feel at home with your unique style and flamboyant personality. The support of Lilith makes you an open-minded, welcoming to transformation, which is very good, and ensuring your voice is heard and acknowledged. Becoming a poster child for community work is highly likable for you. Key themes associated with this are remarkable talents and leadership skills. Let me guess, let me say art. Leadership skills, activism, enjoying creative imagination and sexuality, and drawing attention towards social critical issues. So very, yeah. But then also being very, very aware of your dark side since a young age. So let's just bust open um, one last thing. And wow, we have a exact square between our moons. Interesting. Mine's 21 Sag. Here's 21 Virgo. So that means that we've both gone through this it's pretty much over now, but this very confusing time of Neptune square, transit Neptune square in the moon. Fuck, that was rough. And if you do have any issues with substances, it could have been a time where those, would have been kind of pushed forward. No, not ultra. Fuck. You should have find points, Jesse. Okay, let's see if I see anything else for ending. So yeah, I think like my intuitive sense of like Venus and Algol is that it can, like if you have like Saturn on Algol or Mars on Algol, it's like fuck, dude, good luck. But Venus there, it's just like smoothing it out, and I think it creates like lots of like it's like intuitive like energy, right? I wouldn't lie to you, by the way. Like if it was bad, I'd fucking tell you. Hecate close to your Mars, so that's another like very witchy. I don't want to use like demasculate you by using the word witchy, but I don't know a fucking word like a male version of that, just like alchemist, whatever, like energy, and then also okay, yeah, so you might like be into like magic or alchemy or something like that, like really diving deep into those things. So even closer to that is this. What the fuck is this? Rootbot. How the fuck is Rootbot there? Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Very good reading. Really, really enjoyed this. I hope that you get back to me and we can schedule a follow-up / current astrology or just follow-up, whatever. Just let me know. I'll give you a special price, as I said before. And enjoy. I'll talk to you later. Ciao, ciao. Peace.